Hey guys, check me out at AutoCon on July 8th in New York City. Details and discount codes in the description below. Thanks guys. Guess what time it is?
So you want to be a player?
Oh yeah, we are back with another Pimp My Ride episode to talk about. This is probably one of the most remembered Pimp My Ride episodes, apart from the 240SX one we did last time. We are still on our journey to find the best of the worst Pimp My Ride episode. So here we are with the Honda Civic. One thing that this episode did much better than the others, I think, that the person who won the Pimp My Ride opportunity, you really empathize with.
I live with my grandmother and our two dogs. I take my grandmother to all of her doctor's appointments. Without the Honda, Grandma and I, we would be taking the bus right now.
He drives your grandma everywhere and takes care of her and all these things. So it's a very emotional episode. Yeah. You can kind of tell that she was actually really grateful.
He's Exhibit, he's a famous rapper.
First things first, her alarm keeps going off, and it's probably one of those old Viper alarm systems that never really worked that well. A bunch of my friends had them in high school and they would go off everywhere. We'd be eating at a restaurant, it would just randomly go off if a squirrel went by or something.
A little can opener on the side of the car, a little can opener.
The solution they have is to have Exhibit talk into a microphone and have a verbal alarm system instead.
Yo, back up, this Exhibit, I'm warning you.
Back up, this Exhibit, I'm warning you.
Now, I actually thought that was pretty funny. I think it's pretty clever. Even though it's a little corny, I think it's pretty great. It kind of does look like your everyday Civic that's been on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace way too many times. It's been hit on the side, the bodywork is horrible, the taillight is falling out, it gets worse and worse and worse. The more we look at this Civic, the more we go, is this even savable? Honestly, any car is savable with enough time and money, and this Civic is a perfect example of it. I would say the most memorable thing about this episode was the color, and it had Lambo doors.
Door opens the regular way with the, okay? But instead, we're gonna bring it up like this. Wow.
Lambo doors were huge back in the early 2000s. You put it on Need for Speed Underground or anything like that, seeing a Civic with Lambo doors was normal. It was just part of being cool. The Lamborghini Gallardo came out the same year as this episode, and the doors went out horizontally. They didn't have the stereotypical Murcielago doors. So it was just funny how all these Honda Civics and Mustangs or whatever were doing the whole Lambo door thing when they weren't even really on the new Lambo. But I almost think that the Honda Civic takes revenge on giving it Lambo doors, and it's just resisting because one of the bolts that comes with the kit is just garbage and it gets stuck in there and they have to drill it and cut it out.
It's just a bolt-on kit.
They're both sucking, bro. It's going over the paint. It took us 50% of the time to do 10% of the work.
So as they're cutting it, I can just imagine the Civic being like, no, please don't give me these doors, no. End up having to cut it off and put in new hardware. So it just shows that even with a bolt-on kit, things never go perfect with this kind of stuff. The bolt-on kit had bad bolts, so therefore it took forever to do. I would definitely say the number one thing on this car that was achieved really well was the bodywork. The amount of bodywork they did to the door along with the rear quarter panel and the fender and the side skirt is really impressive. Bodywork is really difficult, so people who don't know a lot about bodywork, it is a crazy experience to see done. With my Integra and my 240, it is truly an art form to get it looking like it was factory. Put a body kit on the car, and I don't really think the body kit is as atrocious as the other ones until they bolt on the big silver wing. This car without the silver wing actually wouldn't look too bad. When it comes to the paint job itself, the lavender paint job, I really didn't think the color was that bad either. It's never the color. I think we've established during this video series that it's never the color itself, it's the vinyl graphics that they do. Thankfully, this time around, they didn't do some crazy vinyl graphic. They just did racing stripes, which back then, also seeing racing stripes on a Civic was common, even though I think it looks like garbage. Had they pulled the stripes, taken off the wing, I think it would have been fairly acceptable. The wheel size, though, is huge on this thing. We got 17s on a Civic.
Wheels.
Oh my
It's a
god.
must. It's a must.
Yeah, it's just a big giant chrome wheel on the purple, and it's just like, ooh. For some reason, chrome, when it's on a bright color like that, kind of makes it look really cheap. It kind of makes it look like you bought something from AutoZone and like made it chrome, I guess. That's my opinion anyway. So let's go into the interior. Okay, so the interior is probably the least offensive interior we've done so far. The Civic inside has one thing with it I really don't like, and that's where the horn is and the airbag. They wrapped that in like purple velvet or whatever, so it's really not even the same color as the lavender on the outside, and plus it just really sticks out.
Oh, back up. This exhibit. I'm wanted.
I can totally live with the color in the door panels, the door cards and all that, the center console. All of that looks great. The purple looks fine inside the car. It's nothing jarring like the two-tone interior or the 240SX's seat cover looking interior. It just looks like they cleaned it up some, and that's all I think people really want, is just clean it up a little bit, and now it's acceptable, right? One of my favorite things though is they pop the trunk and it looks like there's 2 nitrous bottles. You're like, there is no way they put nitrous on this thing without tuning it or anything. And then they turn the camera just enough and Mad Mike reveals what they actually are.
These are the new Bazooka fake nitrous oxide woofer boxes.
But yeah, they're speakers. If you think about it, having the blue nitrous bottle in your trunk was like a status symbol back in the day. So I can see where a lot of people would be like, well, I don't want to blow my motor up, so I guess I'll just do the same thing, but make it a stereo. Honestly, like, it's so funny because every time I try to like really pick at this build, it's actually pretty hard. It's really not all that bad compared to the other ones. The poor girl, she's like, I've never had a CD player before.
First time I've ever had a CD player in general.
What?
You've never had a CD player?
I've never
Girl,
had
get with it. It's 2004, for God's sake.
And then my heart's like, oh my God, if only you knew about Bluetooth in a few years. Every Pimp My Ride episode has to have that one accessorized thing that relates to the owner. And so this time they put in a doggy dish. So it's basically a dog bowl that just comes out. That's it. I love when they go to the spoiler. He's like, yeah, man, this thing's fully functional, complete full downforce. And she's like, my car is like from Fast and Furious.
So I know my car's gonna be like Fast and Furious.
You would have felt like probably a badass driving this car when it came to that era of Honda. The girl with the female characters in that movie and having a car like the female characters in those movies. It makes sense. I mean, I think anybody at the time would have been fairly happy with this car. I know this sounds like I'm like really sucking up to it, but I don't hate it that much compared to the other ones. Now, if I were to see it on the road today, I'd be like, oh, no. It's so of its time. And the other cars were too, but they were just so much more tacky, so much more out there, and so much more evident of like a producer stepping in to make them do crazy things, that this one feels almost a little more pure. And I don't know why that is. I feel like it feels less rehearsed because her reactions, I think, are genuine, and I don't think they did more than one take. I think you can kind of tell that she was legitimately crying and legitimately happy about what was going on. So she was grateful, which makes you feel for her.
This is my car, right?
Yeah.
I want to hug.
Contradictory to what I usually do on the show, and that's to tear these builds apart. I more so am like, wow, they actually did the wish fulfillment on this one. They did something for someone who needed it, and it feels like that. The other people too, I guarantee you, they needed the help too, but this one really feels like they helped someone. It's like every episode though, they put a PlayStation in it, and she's like, I have a PlayStation.
No, I got a PlayStation.
I'd say the number one thing in this car I would actually want in my car is the massage sheets, because that would be amazing. But isn't it funny how that's actually standard in a lot of really fancy high-dollar cars nowadays? So having massage sheets isn't that far-fetched. Plus, on long road trips that I do all the time, like on rotor rallies and stuff, that would be a godsend. There's times where you're sitting in your car and you just need that nudge. You know, you just need something to move your muscles around. So that was pretty cool too. So guys, what did you think about the Honda Civic from Pimp My Ride? Did you think it was the worst one or the best one so far? Tell me in the comment section below which car that you would like to see next. Also, by the way, a little while ago, I made a video about Forza Horizon 4, and I said I was gonna do a video like this in this format, but with your cars and to email an email. Well, unfortunately, Outlook and Microsoft blocked that email because apparently I entered my password wrong like 3 times. So now it's blocked forever, and I've tried to get it back. So I'm gonna go with a new email, so I apologize to everybody who sent one in. Please send another one, because I'm really excited to do that. So if you guys would like to have your car on the show, make sure to email this email, and I'll see you guys next time, and take it easy. Have a fantastic day. Hey, you, want clean wheels? Hey, use this. Spray on. Let sit for 45 seconds and turn purple. Spray again with water. Clean wheels. Make sure to check out www.pattersoncarcare.com. Made by car dudes for car dudes.